This is the Olympus E-500. I picked it up as part of a cheap, bulk-used gear lot, and honestly it's one of the pieces I was most curious to actually handle. Today we are going to look at what 15 euros buys you in the DSLR market, how the hardware holds up after 2 decades, and whether the legendary Kodak CCD sensor actually lives up to the internet hype or is just nostalgia talk. Let's start with the physical build. This came out in 2005 and it feels exactly like a product of its time. It's lightweight and the body is predominantly plastic. It has a very boxy, almost blocky shape compared to the curved design we got later on. The buttons are very tactile, clicky and loud. The screen on the back is tiny by today's standards. You're not going to be accurately judging critical focus on it, just your general exposure and composition. However, it's not all bad. The grip, while plastic, is surprisingly deep and comfortable. There are, of course, other annoying aspects with this type of outdated DSLR lineage, one of them being the lack of SD card compatibility, so you can only use a CF card or an XD card. Olympus went with a 4/3 lens mount here, which allowed the lenses to be smaller, making the whole package feel balanced and compact in the hand. It doesn't feel premium, but it feels like a tool that was meant to be thrown into a backpack without a second thought. Now, for the purposes of this video, I shall be pairing the Olympus E-500 DSLR camera with the Olympus Shuiko 14-45 4/3 kit lens. If you want to see a more in-depth review of this particular camera lineage, please hit that like and subscribe button and support the channel. Where this camera gets interesting is the sensor. It uses a Kodak-made CCD sensor, which is why people still hunt these down. Let's talk about performance in good light. When you take this outside for close-ups and macro shots, the color rendering is genuinely unique. The blues and reds have a thick, dense, almost film-like saturation right out of the camera that modern CMOS sensors struggle to replicate without heavy editing. Now, because the 4/3 sensor size is smaller than the standard APS-C or full frame, getting a massive blurry background, that bokeh effect, takes some work. You either need a very fast prime lens or you will need to get physically right up to your subject for macro work. However, when you do manage that separation, the transition from sharp details to the blurred background is very smooth and pleasing. It is a strictly daylight-only tool. This sensor absolutely hates the dark. The base ISO is 100, and if you push it up for 400 or God forbid 800, the image immediately fills with digital noise and chrome artifacts. The dynamic range tanks and the colors wash out. It is strictly a daylight-only tool. So what's the final verdict? It feels cheap, the screen is tiny, and it's useless after sunset. But for 15 euros, that daytime Kodak color science gives it a specific purpose. It's a fun, quirky character camera. In my next video, we're going to have a look at the second camera from the lot, something built like an absolute tank. In the meantime, please remember that I buy, hoard and collect weird and quirky obsolete tech stuff, so you don't have to. So join the Hoard, hit that like and subscribe button, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.